Okay, welcome to this tutorial to show how to do one-period binomial tree pricing. Okay, so we're going to go over a simple example and we'll show you how to replicate a call option using a stock and a bond, and how ultimately how to price a call option. Okay, so we're going to start with a simple setup where the stock today is going to be equal to I think 60, we're gonna take $60, I think. And the stock next period can either go up to 120 or it can go down to $40. Okay, and we're gonna be interested in a call option. Maturity T is 1 year. That's the length of our tree, basically. And the strike, K, is set at $60. So it's what's called at the money here. Sorry. Okay, the last thing piece of information we need is the bond or interest rate here. And the interest rate is set at 0.1823 such that exponential of 0.1823 times 1 is going to be equal to 1.2. Okay, so that's our exponential r cap t here. Okay, so how to solve these problems? Well, what we're gonna do here is we are going to actually set up the problem of the tree by thinking about the payoffs. Okay, that's the first thing. Okay, so I'm gonna sort of like zone here, and the first thing here I want you to do is really set up the payoff. Most of the mistakes in these problems come from students getting the payoffs wrong because they want to go too fast. So how to make sure we don't do that? Well, we're gonna go slow. All right, so as I said, we start as not is equal to 60 here. That's at date 0, and at date 1 my stock price either go up to 120 or it goes down to $40. Now, what is the payoff of my option? Well, if the stock price is 120, since the strike is at 60, I have the right to buy the stock for $60 even though the stock's worth $120. So that means that I'm actually going to pocket the difference of 120 minus 60. I get a discount on the stock. Now, if the stock goes down and the stock is priced at 40, I have the right to buy the stock at 60, but then why would I do that since I could just buy it for $40? So I'm going to let the option expire. We said that the option is then out of the money, and so the payoff is going to be equal to 0. Okay, so now we have the payoff. The stock price can go up or down, and when it goes up, the call pays $60. When it goes down, the call pays 0. The next step is going to be to set replicating portfolio. We're going to need some space, so I'm going to go here and write down our replicating portfolio. Okay, so that's step 2. I'm going to call it 2A, replicating portfolio. Okay, so we're gonna buy a number of shares, delta shares, of the stock, and we're going to lend or invest B dollars in bond to emulate or replicate the call. Okay? So let's see first our portfolio A. That's the portfolio we want to emulate. That's the call. We're going to have two time periods, t equals 0 and t equal maturity, or 1 year if you want. Here, how much do we spend? Well, we spend the price of the call. Okay, that's actually what we're after. That's our unknown. Now, in 1 year, two things could happen. Either we are in the down branch, or we are in the up branch. If we're on the down branch, we know that the payoff of our portfolio is 0. If we're on the up branch, we know, because we just did it, the payoff of our portfolio is actually $60. Okay, that's what we just did. All right, so that was our first portfolio. Now let's consider our second portfolio. That's going to be portfolio B. That's going to be delta stock. Go long delta the stock and go long B dollars in the bond. Okay, so if I go long delta of the stock, well, today that's going to cost me delta shares times the stock price. The stock price today is 60, so that's minus 60 times delta. How much am I going to get tomorrow? Well, tomorrow, since I assume there are no dividends here, tomorrow I'm going to get delta shares times the stock price. If I'm in the down branch here, I'm going to only get delta times 40. If I'm in the up branch, on the other hand, I get delta times 120, right? I have delta shares and each of them are worth 120. Okay, let's look now at the bond investment. I spent B dollars on the bond, that cost me B. And next period I have what? I have B, that's my principal, times the interest rate. And we said the interest rate was equal to 1.2 earlier. Okay, that actually the interest rate is the same regardless. The interest rate is the same regardless. Sorry, that's supposed to be a B here. Regardless of the environment. Okay, just erase this thing. Okay, so the interest rate is the same, and so let's look at the value of my second portfolio. So it cost me 60 delta plus B, that's a cost. So don't forget to put a minus in front, that's something that's money I spent. And then in the bad state, I get $40 for every share plus my bond investment. And in the up state, I get $120 for every shares plus my bond investment, 1.2, the gross interest rate times the amount invested. Okay. Now the goal here is that we make these things the payoff of the call the same as the payoff of buying delta stocks and delta and B dollars in the bond. Okay, I want to make those two equal. How do I do that? Well, I'm going to figure out what is delta and what is B such that these two are equal. Okay, so I start with, in the down branch, I have like 0, my payoff has to be equal to 40 times delta plus 1.2 times B. And in the up state, I have CU, which is 60, which is equal to 120 delta plus 1.2 times B. Okay, and now this is just a matter of actually solving a system of equations with two unknown. Okay, so how do I solve this? Well, I actually can subtract. You see that 1.2b shows up in both, so I can subtract one, the top one, from the one below, and I get 60 minus 0 is equal to 120 delta minus 40 delta plus 1.2 b minus 1.2 b, which is equal to 80 times delta. Okay, so then I can solve for delta. Delta is equal to 60 over 80, which is also equal to 3/4. Okay, now I need to solve for B, right? How much do I invest in the bond? Well, I actually can substitute back delta. I'm going to substitute in here. So I have 0 is equal to 40 times now 3/4. That's delta plus 1.2 B. And that gives me B is equal to minus 30 divided by 1.2, which is equal to minus 25. All right, so now what have we done? Well, what we did is like we made sure then these payoffs here and here were the same as these payoffs. So to conclude, what we're going to do, we're going to say, well, if the payoffs are the same, then the price must be the same. That's the law of one price. And so the price of this portfolio must be the same as the price of this portfolio. And so I have C0 is equal to 60, the price of one share, times delta plus B. And so C0 is equal to 60 times 3/4 minus 25. And so that's equal to 45 minus 25. And that's equal to 20. That's the price of our call option. Okay, so this is how to use the replicating method using a bond and a stock to price a call option. You could also do this for a put option in a one-paired binomial tree. Okay, so I hope this has been useful. Let me know if you have questions about this. Thank you.